Hi, I'm Evie and I was 9 when I lost my dad. And as my mum has said a few times, every child grieves in a very different way. So me and my sister grieved in very different ways, which kind of reflected the ages that we were when we lost our dad. I withdrew from friends, I didn't really speak to people, I struggled going into school, and I was very nervous about telling anyone about the experience that I'd been through. It didn't help that the first time I told anyone what I'd been through, they came up to me later that day and told me a joke that I still remember to this day and kind of put me off from ever telling anyone about my experiences again. And that joke was, knock knock, who's there? Not your dad. And as you can imagine, that kind of threw me off and I was reluctant to share my story after that. But I started to hear jokes around school and around other public places where people thought that it would be funny to joke about suicide. Not necessarily in an explicit way, but things like, I would rather kill myself than sit through another maths exam. Something subtle like that people don't necessarily realise is going to have such a big impact on people who have been bereaved by suicide. And I knew that I wanted to do something about it. So what I did was I decided to write a story about my experience. I at first wrote it anonymously because, again, I was very nervous about the impact of sharing my experience and people knowing what I'd been through. But I was lucky enough to have that story turned into an animation, which is now being used by charities. It's won awards. I'm very proud of the outlook it's had, so I'll share that with you now, and then I can tell you a bit more about it.